of the earliest memories of my career was I had an interview, and it was one of my first interviews right out of college, and I went there, I was excited, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna finally land that first job. And I bombed that interview because as a beginner, there was so little that I knew about interviewing, and there was so much I didn't know, and it was so easy to make mistakes because I wasn't prepared at all. Most colleges don't actually give you information on how to interview, they don't prep you for that, but it is a critical part of any career journey. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 beginner mistakes that early career candidates make. That way, if that's you, you can avoid it. Let's go. So there are a lot of mistakes you can make as a new, career professional. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 of the most common ones. I've been in recruitment for 15 years, and I've interviewed tons of people. Entry-level, professional, mid-level, you name it. And some of these mistakes are mistakes that people make, not because they're showing up and they want to try to make a mistake. It's because they're new to their career and they're new to interview. So these are some of the mistakes they make. And again, let's get in so you can avoid it. Now, in my first interview that I referenced at the beginning of this video, one of the things that I did that was a mistake is they asked me, okay, what do you know about our organization? And I knew very little. I had done the littlest amount of research possible, and I was fumbling over my words. I wasn't concise. I didn't share like a wealth of information that shows I truly did know what they did. It was clear in that moment that I didn't do enough research. I didn't prepare. I didn't take the interview seriously. And the thing about that question is it often comes at the very beginning of your interview. So it sets the whole interview up for failure, which it was, because I literally went down in flames with the first question and the rest of the interview was basically a dumpster fire. I did not get that job. One of the biggest mistakes that new career professionals make is not doing adequate research. A huge mistake that new candidates make is they have poor body language. So when you show up to an interview, it is really important that you have great body language, right? You need to smile, you need to look them in the eye, you need to have a firm, but not too firm, you're not trying to break anyone's handshake. And when you're sitting there, you need to be sitting up straight, you're not moving your hands too crazy, but calm, composed, friendly, and attentive. That's what you're trying to accomplish. Can't be leaning back. This looks terrible in an interview. You don't want to be too far forward. What are you doing? But that body language, that is something that people get wrong. They're nervous, they're fidgety, they haven't been in an interview much. So that is a mistake that you absolutely need to try to rectify, because information from the interviewer's perspective, so much of it is visual. So little of it is actually what you say. But how you say it and what you look like while you're saying it, they play a huge role in how you're perceived as a candidate. By the way, if you're finding value in this, do me a favor, hit that like button. It's free, it tells YouTube I don't suck, and it motivates me to make more videos like this, really helps the channel. And if you're already willing to do that, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you never miss one of my 3 free weekly videos, all designed to help you land your dream job and maximize your career. Like the worst mistakes that new entry-level candidates make, and I hate this mistake because it's so easy to fix, is they don't ask questions at the end of the interview. So you reach the end of the interview and then the person interviewing you goes, do you have any questions for me? And so often they go, no, I don't have any. And sometimes they think they're doing a good thing. I did so much research, I don't have any questions to ask you. It's never perceived like that. I have talked to so many hiring managers over the years who go, Ben, they were not interested in my role. I go, well, why do you think that? I go, well, they didn't have any questions for me at the end. Questions at the end of the interview are never about you. It's about them. It's about showing them that you're interested and you did preparation and you came prepared with questions. By the way, if you want to nail your interview and you want to become like a master interviewer and you want to land your next job, I want you to go down in the description box. In the description box, that very first link, that is my full interview prep guide. And it has everything you need to become the best candidate possible. I walk you through different exercises, I have templates, and I have different coaching points that are going to allow you to be a top 5% candidate. Another huge mistake that early career professionals make is they don't spend enough time familiarizing themselves with a job description. You apply to a job, that's it, you research the company, you show up, and then they're asking you, hey, why do you think you're a good fit for this job? It's one of the most common questions you're going to get asked, and they don't know what to say. They don't actually know what's in the job description. They can't speak to why they're a good fit, and if they're a misalignment, why the person interviewing them shouldn't worry about the fact that they don't have all of blank, right? And why they're capable of overcoming this misalignment. So a huge mistake that entry-level people make is they just don't familiarize themselves with a job description, and they're certainly not prepared to talk about job fit. Lack of confidence is a huge mistake people make. They come on, they show to an interview a bit timid, and I get this. When you're early in your career, you don't have a lot to be confident about, right? There's so much you don't know. you're so new, everyone has more experience than you. But what I would say is this is one of those fake it till you make it situations. You don't want to be cocky, but confident in what you do. And you want to be able to sit up straight, look them in the eye, speak confidently about what you learned and your abilities, right? Maybe you haven't done blank, right? Whatever it is. But you have behaviors that set you up to succeed. You're a hard worker, you're a quick learner, you're a good teammate. These are things that matter in a corporate setting. So I know it can be hard to be confident when you're nervous and when you're new to your career. But what I would say is never be cocky, but fake it until you make it, act confident, and prepare to talk about things you've done in a confident manner. Like practice it so when you go to the interview, you sound confident. Now, sometimes when people are a few years into their career, they make this mistake and they badmouth previous employers. They talk badly about previous bosses. They talk badly about the culture at previous places. It's actually a very common thing, and people don't mean anything by it. They're not trying to come in and badmouth. They're just being honest most of the time. They're just talking about why they're looking, why they're on the market, why they're interested in leaving their current employer, right? But the reality is being negative in a job interview will hardly ever serve you. Most of the time, it'll actually adversely impact you. So you want to make sure you don't do that. So my advice is never badmouth an employer. Look, sometimes they deserve it, right? But this isn't about them, it's about you. And if you want to land the job, you need to avoid talking negatively about anything in your past when it comes to a job interview. Another big mistake that early career professionals make is they don't follow up, right? So they're doing a lot of the applying, they're going to interviews, but it makes sense to follow up with recruiters. Show them you're interested, follow up with hiring managers, send thank you emails. Some of that non-application communication is really important, right? It's not in the application, it's not in the interview, but it's in between that. That middle of the process stuff actually matters quite a bit. So you want to make sure that when you're reaching out, you're consistent, you're polite, and you're inquisitive. You want to ask, okay, when can I expect next steps? Things like that. But if you don't follow up and just expect other people to drive the process for you, what you'll find is other people don't always drive it with the same intentionality that you do. So it's important to follow up. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video that you want to be able to ask great questions at the end of your interview. I want you to watch this video here. This is questions you specifically can ask to your new or future boss. And they're questions that'll make you come off as an impressive candidate and you'll walk away with great information. So I'm done here, but I'll see you over there.